and the inside have done it! A war fought between FaZe and ENCE. Every round, more and more, but it is ENCE who come out on top.
The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Snappi, a Danish veteran IGL, has built up numerous teams over the course of his career to exceptional teams within the ENCE rosters, and constantly had those he has played with or brought up under him plucked to go to higher levels, higher teams. And every single time, Snappi doesn't give up. Scout, they search, they rebuild, and they try again. And again. And again. And after all these years, it seemed that Snappi was finally getting his call up. He was the one being plucked. But it seems like he was never actually supported to begin with, if interviews are anything to go by. In the time before Falcons, one of the driving forces behind joining Falcons for Snappi was the ability to get invites to events, to tournaments, and to not have to play as many open qualifiers as he did during his time in ENCE. As during his time in ENCE, he was the most vocal, critic of the current structure of the circuit at that time, and would make sure it was known in his interviews. But now he's out of Falcons. He doesn't have his same boys. Back to square one. Snappi, as an IGL, I think landing in NIP for his career, for both the organization and for him, is a fantastic move. I think after the tenure in Falcons, people will have his stock relatively low due to him not performing despite the circumstances. But, obviously they didn't have a star rifler per their own issues, and for some reason they were unable to play Counter-Strike by committee, similar to some previous teams that those components had been a part of. But I would also say that the lack of a star rifler is fairly important in my opinion, especially when it comes to Snappi's systems. You look at Snappi historically, his two big ENCE rosters both had Nerts and Spinks, and they're two of the most mechanically gifted riflers on the planet right now. And to have Dupree filling the role of those two within Falcons likely made it much more difficult for them to succeed to begin with. But moving over now into Ninjas in Pajamas, Snappi has to build again. And this time, I would say he's already in a better place than Falcon. In Ninjas in Pajamas, he will be inheriting Wrinkle, who has already worked with a number of IGLs and has a little bit of Tier 1 experience underneath him, but not a ton. So he still has a aggressive young Opper to help form and work with Exist to help form. Then he also gets to have Shush from Heroic, the much overlooked member of that famous Heroic lineup who for some reason no one ever wants to pick up one of the best anchors in the world. On me, I don't know, man. Maybe it's because maybe it's me. But then you have Exist as well in the coaching position, someone who's worked with Shush previously, has molded a number of young talents during his time. And on top of that, to finish everything off, to sort of answer the rifle question, to fill the remaining slots on the team, as well as the sort of star and fill rifler positions respectively, we look to CjDoesCs and CjDoesCs. Now, CjDoesCs was actually recently linked potentially with Falcons, giving you an idea whether, kind of based on how I've spoken about them in this video, you can kind of come to whatever conclusion you want based on that information. But, CjDoesCs and CjDoesCs, and if you look at these guys rather objectively, CjDoesCs is your 1.1 higher star rifler, CjDoesCs is your 1.05 fill rifler. They'll likely take up Madden-like positions within the Snappi system, and you can sort of see the entire system begin to fall into place. If you look at Snappi's teams historically, we have a aggressive and young, highly mechanically gifted Opper. We have a star rifler in CjDoesCs, who he's likely going to get Nerts/Spinks treatment. We have a fill player in CjDoesCs. We have a solid anchor in Shush, who will take, those DH-like places. and we'll see Snappi doing Snappi things. So I think that this overall NIP team is actually going to be very strong out of the gate because the players lend themselves to a structure that Snappi inherently already knows how to call very well. And due to the pre-existing relationship with, say, Shush and Exist, allowing the team to get on board with the vision a lot faster from an administrative side or a leadership perspective side. And I think that both Shush, Snappi, and Exist could be a fantastic core for the supportive elements of NIP for many years to come, having an experienced IGL, having an experienced anchor, and having a very experienced coach now. It's a great foundation for you to attract any other riflers, and they could potentially even upgrade one of these riflers in the future, or we see Snappi have another one plucked from his clutches. But that'll be it for today, everyone. My name has been CJ. Let me know down below what your favorite version of ENCE was. What do you think NIP's going to do in 2025? Do you think they're going to actually manage to pull something off? Will we see a singular playoff run from them? Will we see them make an upgrade or have someone stolen from them? Will Wrinkle get picked up to go somewhere bigger? What do you guys think? Let me know down below, and have a great rest of your day.